Give me 1 sec. All right, guys, give me 1 sec while I bring it up on here so I can see all of your comments. It should come up any moment. While I'm bringing this up, let me know where you're from, how you're doing, everything like that. Say hello. For some reason, it's not coming up here. That might be because, oh, okay, I know what I gotta do. Hold on, I can't see your comments just yet. There it is. All right, do I have the sound up? Hey, Connecticut. Okay, so I'm assuming you guys can hear me. Say hi in the comments and let me know where you're from. I'm gonna make sure the camera's okay here and that we're all, okay, yeah, camera's good to go. Can you dab, please? Yeah, all right, there you go. That's the one dab I'll give you, and that's the only one I'm giving you. All right, so guys, let me know again where you're from. We're going to be going over a very important topic today. We're going to be going over how to score more goals in soccer, how to score goals in soccer. And basically how these live streams work is I'm going to be covering the main topic we're going over, which is the how to score goals. And then we're going to open up a Q&A for you guys. So keep the comments coming. I see we have Germany. We've got someone from Georgia. Did I say Macedonia in there? That's awesome. We got Ireland, Ivory Coast. Yo, what's up, man? From Zlatanland, Vietnam. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing Albania. That's awesome. Canada. All right, so we got a few different countries represented: England, Netherlands, or Holland, Poland. All right, Jamaica, Poopland. I mean, I don't know how it's going over in Poopland. Anyway, guys, so. As you know, I'm Dave here from SimplySoccer, where we help you to improve your game and stand out on the pitch. We release videos every single day to help you with your, training, soccer tips, technique, and everything like that. So if you are not subscribed and you're watching this, make sure you do, because we release stuff every single day, and we're doing these live streams every single Friday at 3 p.m. my time, which is EST, Eastern Standard Time. So let's see what we got in here. We got Portugal. All right, awesome. Let's get right into the content because I want to get through that, give you guys some tips on how to score more goals, and then we'll get to your questions, and we'll spend a pretty decent chunk at the end, going over that. So, and we will be covering, someone asked score goals from midfield. This can be applied not just to strikers, this can be applied to midfielders, wingers, and although this will cover mostly just attacking positions, it is important defenders are chipping in with goals every now and then, but this will be mainly for attacking players. So, and for those of you who are wondering how midfielders do it, I mean, there's plenty of goal-scoring midfielders. You can look at players like Dele Alli, Steven Gerrard, and Frank Lampard in their heyday, and many more players who scored a lot of goals from midfield. So how we're going to basically do this is I'm going to give you some physical things that you can start doing and start thinking about. And then I'm going to give you some mental things, because a lot of soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, has to do with your mentality, how your confidence is. And this is especially true for goal scoring because it's such a pressure skill. You're going to find yourself in situations where you're really under pressure, and usually the more confident players are going to be the ones that are scoring the most goals. So the first thing we're going to go over is, this is probably, like the most straightforward and the most obvious, is you need to be working on your finishing. If you're a striker or some player who wants to be scoring goals, but you're not actually taking specific time to work on finishing, then you're going to find yourself not being able to do it in game situations. Now, this doesn't need to be tough or anything. I mean, Harry Redknapp, if any of you watched that 4-4-2 video on the art of goal scoring, said that he likes to have his strikers just after practice 15-20 minutes just to work on their finishing, work on their goal scoring. So make sure you're taking actual time, schedule actual time into your training to work on your finishing. Because if you're not doing this, again, you're going to find yourself in game situations not knowing what to do. And as many of you who are strikers know, sometimes you only get 1 or 2 chances. And if you haven't been practicing actually putting it in the net in practice, you're not going to be able to put those chances away. So one thing I will mention when it comes to practicing your finishing is always choose composure over power. One thing I always find a lot of players do, and this is especially for players who are not strikers, so for you center mids and for you wingers, a lot of times I'll see you guys find yourself in goal scoring opportunities and then you'll just blast it as hard as you can. always go for composure over power, especially if you're in the 18-yard box, especially if it's just you and the keeper. Pick a corner and just roll it into that corner or angle it into that corner. If you just blast it as hard as you can, the first thing that's going to happen most likely is you'll just not hit it correctly and it will go sky over the bar, it'll go wide, or you'll hit it right at the keeper and they'll be able to save it. But if you can put it into either corner, if you can keep your composure and maybe round the keeper, chip him, put it through his legs even sometimes, and we'll cover more of that stuff as well, it's going to just give you more chance of actually scoring. So always choose composure over power, and when you're practicing, don't just go to a net or a wall and just hit it as hard as you can into the net. Now, sometimes you'll get away with this and you'll score goals this way, but you want to give yourself the best chance possible to score. And as you start becoming a better goal scorer, the more you practice, you'll start recognizing different situations and what to do in those situations. So composure over power when you're practicing. For you strikers, for you guys who want to work on your goal scoring, take 10 to 15 minutes after every single training session, or maybe 3 to 4 times a week, and just specifically work on putting it in the corners. Work on, maybe have a player stay behind with you and put some crosses in for you to finish. But make sure you're specifically working on it. Next is, I went composure over power, but it's technique over power as well. Now, you guys have heard me talk about this in a lot of shooting videos, that, it's not about how fast you swing, it's not even about how strong your legs are or anything like that. It really comes down to your technique, how sweetly you're hitting the ball. And in order to do that, you do not need to swing as hard as you can. So when you're practicing your shooting and your finishing, make sure you're focusing on technique over power. And I have a video that actually goes over this. It's, I think, how to shoot a soccer ball with power from far or something like that, so you can take a look at that. So next tip, and this one is, again, a very simple one, but for some reason I don't see players doing this enough, and this was something that was mentioned in the 4-4-2 video as well, which you guys should definitely check out. It's called The Art of Goal Scoring. It's a great video. A lot of professional players, really great goal scorers, talk about what it's like to be a goal scorer. Players like Jermaine Defoe, I don't think Thierry Henry is in the video, but they talk about him, players like this, so definitely check that out. Number 2 is crash the net. And they talked about this in the video. Every single goal counts. It's really nice to score, a 25-yard curler into the top corner, or to beat 3 players and then chip the keeper and look like a boss. I love, those goals are awesome. I mean, if you've ever scored one like that, it feels really good. But the point is, that goal counts as much as a scrappy tap-in that you score for your team. You want to be putting yourself in positions and doing things that are going to get you the most goals. Not necessarily the most fancy goals or the most skillful goals or anything like that. To put it into perspective, I would rather score 20 tap-ins in one season than 10 world-class amazing goals, because 20 goals is going to benefit me and my team more than 10 goals. And one way to really up your goal tally is to crash the net. I like the example they used in the 4-4-2 video, which was, imagine that you're magnetized to the keeper every time someone takes a shot. When one of your players goes to wind up to shoot, don't even think about anything else. Just turn and run straight for the keeper. Because if he spills it at all, even a little bit, even if it's just like a little thing down at his feet, if you get there in time, you have a tap-in. And you can score a ton of goals this way. And if you guys watch a lot of professional matches, EPL, La Liga, German Bundesliga, doesn't matter, international matches, Champions League, this happens actually quite a bit, where a keeper won't parry it correctly, or they'll spill it. And a lot of the times a player isn't there. But the better goal scorers, they're right there to tap that ball in, easy goal. And the thing to recognize with this is, you can have a game where it ends 1-0, and that's the only goal that's scored, but it doesn't matter whether it's an amazing goal that's scored or a tap-in. You want to be scoring all kinds of goals, and a good goal scorer is someone who doesn't just score one type of goal. They can score that 25-yard curler from outside the box, but they're also scoring those tap-ins as well. If you look at some of the best goal scorers, the Suarez's, Ronaldo's, the Messi's, the ones getting like 50+ a season, not every single one of their goals are world class. A lot of them are tap-ins from across. A lot of them are rebounds. And of course they have their really, really good goals as well. But the point is, you're going to up your goal tally and score more goals simply by doing this one thing, which is crashing the net. So I just wanted to make sure I got that in there, because this is something I just don't see players doing. And you can immediately increase your goal tally simply by crashing the net. All right, so I'm going to go right into the next one and move along because I do want to get to the questions as well. Next one is kind of similar to that, and it's your movement. This can be if you're a center mid. This can be, obviously, if you're a striker, your movement needs to be good, a winger. For you center mids out there, a player who does this so well right now that is really like the hot topic right now is Dele Alli. And he'll do this all the time. If you guys remember a lot of the goals he scored last season, he would have Harry Kane would check to the ball and all this space would be exploited. Dele Alli would run through it. They would play him the ball over the top, and he hit some amazing goals that way. First time, or brought it down on his chest and volleyed it in. So there are ways for center mids to do this, and wingers and other attacking players to get in behind by making the correct runs to score goals. But for you strikers, you need to be making those runs all the time. If you're standing still, if you're stagnant, if you're not in constant motion, it's not only difficult for your team to play you in, it just makes it harder for your team in general. You need to be making those runs to the corner flag. You need to be making those diagonal runs across the back line. And if you time them right and your teammate plays you through, you're now one-on-one with the keeper, and then it's going to come down to your finishing ability, your composure, and your confidence in that situation. If you guys watched the Liverpool-Leicester match, over last weekend, which I regrettably did, Jamie Vardy scored a goal just like this. He made the run, Drinkwater found him, he was one-on-one with Mignolet, and he finished confidently. And if you can make those runs and get in those positions, you're going to score a lot more goals. Now, a player I recommend that you watch if you want to learn how to make good runs and you want to learn good movement is Luis Suarez, and I always recommend him to strikers because he's always moving. He's in constant motion. There are times I was watching a video of him recently where he wasn't even looking at the ball. He just knew where he needed to run. He peeled off, made sure he got there, ball came to him, and he volleyed it into the net. If you want to learn about movement as an attacking player, watch Luis Suarez videos. And not just his highlight videos, not just like his good highlights. Watch like a Luis Suarez individual highlights of a match. And you'll see all the runs he makes, or just watch Barcelona play, and you're going to see all of the runs he makes, how much he's moving, and this is just going to benefit you and help you score more, because it's going to put you in more goal-scoring positions. Okay, real quick, Riyad Mahrez. I love Riyad Mahrez, but he really hasn't shown up this season, just to answer that really quick. Let's go over the next thing. Again, this was mentioned in 4-4-2. It's about having a standard finish and a go-to move. And Lukaku actually talked about this, having your go-to move, especially in a goal-scoring situation. Actually, someone reminded me of this on the channel. And something I always tell attacking players to have is have 3 moves. But when I think about it, even with my 3 moves, I have one that is my go-to move. For me, it's a step over, beating the player, and then trying to hit the corner of the net. It's always good for an attacking player, whether you're a center mid, a winger, a striker, to have that go-to move where you can beat the defender and put a shot on target. Also to have a go-to finish, like a default that you don't even have to think about. One of my favorite examples of this is Thierry Henry. If you look at a lot of the goals he scored, he scored some amazing goals, don't get me wrong. I mean, this guy was incredible. But a lot of his goals would be curled finishes to the back post, or it would be across the keeper one-on-one. Like, the bulk of his goals are like this because it was his go-to finish. It's what he would usually do. He was so masterful at doing that one thing that even if you knew he was going to do it, he'd still be able to beat you. It's kind of like with Messi. You kind of know what Messi's going to do sometimes, not all the time, but you kind of know what he wants to get on his left foot. He's going to cut, he's going to chop you, but players still can't stop him because he's so good at it. Same with your finishing. Have that go-to finish that you've practiced over and over and over again so much that you pretty much score almost every time you do it. For Thierry Henry, it was curling into that far post or hitting it low and hard into the other corner, and I recommend you have one as well. And also have your go-to move that's going to create the space you need to get a shot off. So I just wanted to mention that really quickly. And one more I'm going to mention really quickly before we move on to the mental side, which is incredibly important. Like, if you don't have the confidence, if you don't have the composure, which comes from confidence, a lot of this physical stuff doesn't even matter because you need that. And the next one is shoot often. I don't mean be super selfish, but as a goal scorer, you do need a selfish streak about you. And you need to not be afraid to shoot. I'm not saying get the ball from 40 yards away and shoot every single time. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying I've encountered, and I've had this happen to me as well, where I've gotten afraid or being afraid of shooting because I'm afraid my teammates will get on my back if I miss, or I'm just afraid of missing in general, or my coaches will be like, don't shoot there, pass. But if you have an opportunity, like if you're 18 yards, 20 yards, and you have an opening, you need to get into the habit of being able to put that on target. Now again, don't be stupid about this. If you have a teammate wide open in a goal scoring position, then you should be playing that. But this is the example I always use. Let's say you're 20 yards from goal and you have an opening to shoot. You've created the space, you've gotten the ball, you have the opening, and you have a pass, but it's a sideways pass. Or you have to pass backwards if you're going to pass. Take the shot. It's worth the risk in that situation. Make sure you're not afraid to shoot, because if you are, you're not going to score goals. It really is so simple and comes down to that. Okay, so we're going to work on the mental stuff right now as well. I only have really two things. I only have two things really to do with the mental stuff, but it's because it's really, really important. Obviously, the first one is confidence when you score goals. Scoring goals is one of the hardest things in the sport, especially on a consistent basis. It's really hard to be a goal scorer because you're expected to score the goals. If you don't score the goals and no one else scores the goals, and it's 0 for your team and maybe 0 or something else for the other team. You're expected to score, especially if you're an advanced player in a striker position or behind the striker. You're expected to score goals. So you need confidence in pressure situations. You need to be able to handle pressure, or else you're going to buckle under it when you find yourself in a goal-scoring opportunity. I'm sure many of you have had times in practice where you've just been on your game. You're finishing everything that comes your way. Everything you touch turns to gold. You get a ball from 18 yards, you curl it right into that corner, but then a game comes around and you can't do it for some reason. It's probably because there's a little bit of a lack of confidence there. You're feeling the pressure. Now, one thing you need to really get a handle on is you need to believe that you're going to score every chance that comes your way. Now, I know that's not realistic, but that is going to help. Obviously, you're not going to score every chance that comes your way, but you need to believe that you will. Believe that every single chance, even the tough ones, that you're going to score, so that it instills that confidence within you, instills that belief system within you, that every single chance that comes your way, you're going to score. I guarantee you that Suarez, Ronaldo, Messi, and great goal scorers think that are going to score every single chance. Neymar you can throw in there. We can go Diego Costa. We can go Didier Drogba when he played. Thierry Henry. They all probably believed every single chance that came their way, they were going to put it away. Because if a little bit of doubt creeps in your mind, if there's that little nagging thought in the back of your mind that says, you're probably going to miss this, it's going to trip you up. Even if it's like a small little voice in your head, you need to train yourself to think, I'm going to score every chance that comes my way. I'm going to score this chance. And make it a habit so that you're as confident as possible going into situations. Obviously, practicing your finishing will improve your confidence as well. We've gone over the competence loop. The more you practice, the more confident you become, and vice versa. But you really need to believe that you're going to score. Now, kind of the second thing I'm going to talk about, and they go over this in 442, the 442 video, is you need to have the ability to bounce back. And this is something I struggle with for a long time. I would miss a chance when I was a kid, and I would get so mad at myself that it would ruin the rest of the chances that I had. And it wasn't until I got over this that I was able to score on a consistent basis. Because you need to go into a goal-scoring opportunity thinking you're going to score, and then if you miss, to be able to bounce back and go, it's fine, I'll get the next one. Because if you beat yourself up, you get down on yourself, your confidence goes down, and you're not going to be able to do the things you trained yourself to do. So the best goal scorers in the world, like a Suarez, we'll use him as an example again, or Lewandowski or whoever, they miss a chance and they might get frustrated for a second or two, and then they get on with it. I remember actually very vividly Liverpool versus Norwich, and if any of you have watched those games when Suarez was for Liverpool, he tore them apart. He scored like 2 or 3 hat tricks against them in 4 games or something. It was ridiculous. And we were playing in this game, he scored like 4 goals against them, and he missed an easy chance, very easy chance. We were playing at Norwich. All the fans started booing him and laughing at him, all the Norwich fans. 30 seconds later, he wins the ball back, nutmegs the defender, and then curls it with the outside of his foot into the corner. He can do that because he didn't let that miss get to him. He said to himself, I don't know what he said to himself, but he probably said, don't worry about it, I'll get the next one. He brought that confidence back into himself, and not only did he score a goal, he won the ball back, nutmegged the defender, and scored a really good goal, and then went on to score 3 more. That's what you need to be able to do. You need to be able to bounce back from a missed opportunity, from a bad opportunity, or from a bad miss, from a bad play, and just get the next one, because ultimately you're going to make many mistakes when you play. You're going to, in games, in practices, doesn't matter. If you beat yourself up about them, you're not going to get any better. If you just tell yourself, okay, I can't do anything about that now except try and not do it next time, I'm going to get the next one, you'll see a much better performance from yourself if you can do that. Okay, so this also applies not just to when you miss a chance, this applies to a bad game. I'm sure many of you have had a string of bad games where you've been playing pretty poorly and you don't know how to bounce back. You just need to let it go. You can analyze your game, see what you did wrong, and then let it go and focus on the next one. Okay, so I'm going to see what we are doing on time here. All right, cool. This is perfect. We're 20 minutes in. And yes, your main job as a striker is to score. All right, so I'm going to get some questions from you guys now, so start asking them. It's better if you put at SimplySoccer or hashtag SimplySoccer or something, because I can see how, I can see your questions. So everyone, whoever has a question, put it in the comments now. We'll answer quite a few questions for you. So let's see. How to improve. Okay, so the first one I see how to improve fitness. So we'll do that. Fitness is a big thing, and you need to be fit in order to play soccer effectively. It's not something that can happen quickly. You have to build up your fitness. The biggest thing I can say for you is get on a fitness plan and stick with it. I can't go over one right now. I mean, I can provide you with links that give you a general overview, and you can watch certain players. Like if you guys know Become Elite's channel, he's really fit and he shows you guys his workouts, so that's a great place to go to look for workouts and things that can help you get into shape. But really what's going to happen, you need to find a system, you need to find a fitness plan, and you need to stick to it consistently. And you also have to recognize when it comes to fitness, there's going to be peaks and there's going to be troughs. So there's going to be times where during your fitness plan you're doing really well, and then there's going to be times when you're feeling really tired and not, and you need to push through. You're not going to get fit in a few weeks. Let's just put it that way. You're not going to get fit maybe even a month, like super fit. It's going to take consistent work over a long period of time. I will also say your diet does come into play a lot, so make sure you're eating correctly as well. And I can't really give you much of a longer answer right now just because I can't do it in 5 minutes. So yes, absolutely. Take a look. Someone recommended Become Elite, Matt Sheldon. Dude he's been, I've watched his story and everything. He's been working out and training from a pretty, since he was a teenager, and he's really into it. He's a great person to go watch if you want to learn stuff like that. So how many hours a week should I train individually on the pitch, from Daniel? It's going to vary player to player. I like to say at least practice in a scheduled way 5 times a week at least, and then have 2 rest days if you're just starting out. And this is going to depend on when in the season you are. If you are in your season, like you're having games right now, obviously there's going to be less time for you to practice, and you need to allow your body to recover. You should still get out there a little bit every day if you can. Even on rest days, go out for 10 minutes and get your body moving, because it's actually being shown that recovery, just lying down and doing nothing, actually isn't that great for recovery. You need to get the blood flowing through your body. You need to, open up those blood vessels, go for a jog or something, which aids your recovery. But I would say, again, you need a schedule, you need a plan. And if it's in season, it's going to be different. If you're in the off season, you can go a little harder. Okay, if it's preseason, that's when you probably go the hardest. Okay, so off season, you're going harder than what you would in season, because you're gonna have matches which are pretty intense. Preseason's when you're gonna go the hardest. So individually for you right now, if you're in a preseason, off season phase, I would go, at least 2 or 3 really hard sessions a week where you really get into it, where you're really, really tired at the end. You can have a few recovery sessions in there, some light sessions, and be very strategic about what you're working on. I don't know what your position or anything is, but make sure you're incorporating position-specific things into your workout. So if you're a striker, you're going to be working on your finishing, your skill moves, and things of that nature. If you're a defender, you're going to be working on other stuff. Okay. All right, so this is a good one. How do you improve striking the ball with the correct technique consistently, from Ethan? Just going to check the time here. Okay. Great question. Now, this applies to this topic, so that's really good. First thing, Ethan, if you haven't seen the video I made, which is how to shoot a soccer ball with power and accuracy from far, I think that's it. Definitely watch that, because it shows you the proper technique. But when it comes to your technique, again, with anything, it's consistency. Now, what I recommend for technique, is you find a wall, and if you can't find a wall, I'll give you something in a second you can do. You find a wall and you just practice your technique over and over again. Now, the thing with this, you have to consciously be practicing it. You see, you get from your training if you are focusing on what you're doing. If you just go to the wall and mindlessly hit it against the wall over and over again without really focusing, you're not going to learn much. But if you're focusing, you put the ball down, you kind of take a step back and you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to make sure I lock my ankle. I'm going to make sure my body position is correct. I'm going to make sure I strike the ball towards the middle or upper or lower middle, and you keep doing that. Then you can assess how well you're doing. So let's say you focus on it, you hit the ball and it's a little bit off. Because you were focused, you're like, oh, I hit the ball a little too far on the right there. So then you fix that on your next shot. Then you do it again, and you're like, oh, maybe my ankle is a little floppy there. Then you do it, and then you hit a good shot, and you're like, okay, what did I do right there? Analyze it, and you keep doing that. And once you've figured out, what you're doing that's right and what you're doing that's wrong, you keep adjusting it until you keep hitting that right technique over and over again. And I like doing this against a wall because you can do it so many times. You can go to a net, you can go to a field. The only problem is, even if you have like 7 or 8 balls to work with, you shoot 8 times against the net, then you have to go chase the balls. You have to go get the ones you miss, you have to go get the balls in the net, come back, do it again. With a wall, you need 1 ball, and you don't have to do that. You hit it, it comes back to you, you put it down, you shoot again. You hit it, comes back to you, put it down. You see what I'm getting at here. You get a lot more reps in a shorter amount of time. So definitely go check out that video so you have an idea of what the proper technique is, and then you just need to get a feel for it. So keep focus on, are you doing it right? And try and analyze your shot. If the shot doesn't look right, doesn't feel right, you just think, okay, what did I do wrong? You adjust that on your next shot, try and do it better. And when you hit a good shot, you go, okay, what did I do right? And you just keep doing that over and over again, okay? That's just the simplest way to do it, but definitely shoot against the wall. That's how I improved my technique very quickly. Okay, so I know the best football secret: eat chickens and play Minecraft. Luke English, you might be onto something. All right, let's get another question. Zinedine Zidane 10. I'm going to choose yours because I love Zinedine Zidane. Do you believe in natural talent? This is something I've been moving back and forth with because, for the common idea is there is something called natural talent. Like there's the widespread belief globally in any sport is there are some players more naturally talented than others. But there are studies that are coming out now and have been around for the last few years that say this isn't true. Now, I don't know because I look at Messi and I go, there's no way he doesn't have natural talent. But the fact of the matter is I don't have all of the information. You see, because if you're a player who's practiced since you were like 1 year old and you've done specific practice, like you had a dad or a coach who from like 1, 2, or 3 made you train on the right things, you're obviously going to be a much better player than players who haven't done that. That's the thing. So I don't know if there's natural talent. I'm really moving away from that because the reason I don't like that idea is it makes players think, well, I don't have that natural talent. That means I can't get better, which is wrong because you can get better. But I'm not, it's not about what I feel. It's what about like the actual fact is. In fact, I have a book. This book right here, it goes over that this argument, is there innate talent, is there not? And this book argues that actually there's no such thing as innate talent. There are certain things genetically, like your height and your body, like how your body is and things that play into how, obviously someone who's like 6'7" is gonna be able to succeed more basketball than someone who is 5'5". But outside of that, he argues, and he has like 30, 40 years of research to back this up, many case studies, that there actually isn't that much innate talent that goes into it. It really is like these so-called prodigies and players who look extremely talented is because they put in more work, and this is the key, they put in the right kind of work. Because like I was saying with that shooting example, you could go to a wall and just shoot mindlessly, or you could go to a wall and shoot deliberately, focusing on your technique. If you do an hour of one, an hour of the other, both players got an hour of practice in, but one player got better, more beneficial practice in. So that's the thing for all of you guys out there. I don't know, but there are people who say there's no such thing as talent, and people who say there are. The biggest thing to take away from it is work hard, work on the right things, and you will become better. That's the biggest thing, okay? All right, so let's get a few more questions here. Let's get a couple more questions. So let's see, I'll scroll up. Kristen, I'm gonna make actually I'm gonna do a tryout video tomorrow. We're coming out with a new tryout video tomorrow, so come back tomorrow and we will have that. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna go up here and see if I can find a question. All right, we're gonna do speed training. Let's see. I'll cover that in a different one. How to beat fast strikers as a defender. Okay, how to beat fast strikers as a defender. I'll answer that really quickly. Guys, keep the question coming. What's the first thing you do when you get the ball? I'll answer that as well. Okay, so when you come up against I'm not a defender. Let me just say that as like first off. So I am a striker, so this is going to be a little different than if a defender answered you. But one of the best things I would say, like if I'm being contained, I'm not the fastest, but I used to be pretty quick when I wasn't tall, when I was smaller. The thing that I always hated was when a defender would show me out wide, show me onto my weak foot, or just wouldn't let me turn when they got up against me. Now you have to be careful with this because if they are able to turn you, they burn you. This comes down to decision making. This comes down to, soccer intelligence. But the best thing is don't let them face you if you can prevent it. If they do face you, try and show them out wide. The thing you don't want is them bearing down on goal. You can see many examples of, and just another thing is just watch some of the best defenders and see what they do. Watch defenders like Mats Hummels. You can watch defenders like John Terry when he was in his prime. And there's, many others that I can name, I can't think of because, again, I'm not a defender. But, don't let them get the ball and face you because that's when you're in trouble. If you can prevent them from turning, that's the best case scenario. You want to stifle them before they get the chance to run at you. Don't let them use their greatest strength against you. That's the big thing. Their strength is their speed. Don't let them use it as much as you can. And when they are able to use it, try and show them away from goal. Okay, that's the best thing I can do with that. Okay, and the one question I remember is, what is the first thing you do when you get the ball? Well, this varies. It's going to be different every single time because the situation is going to be different. Now, if you have space, my immediate instinct when I have space and I have the ball is to go forward, but it's going to be a lot different. You got to make sure you know where you are on the pitch when you have the ball, and you need to know what's around you. So make sure you're looking up, you're checking over your shoulder, you know if there's anything behind you, you know where your teammates are. Again, this comes from awareness because if you just turn and there's a defender there, that's no good. If you turn and you don't know where any of your teammates are, that's no good because someone comes and closes you down and you don't know where your teammates are, so you can't pick them out. So the biggest thing isn't what is the first thing you do, like what if there's like one thing you're supposed to do when you get the ball. There's many things you can do. The biggest thing is just be aware of what's around you. Always be aware, always be checking over your shoulder, okay? So one more question. Let's get one more question. So even if you've asked one, keep asking them because I'm looking at the comments now. Okay. All right, I'm going to scroll up to find one more. Okay, I'm going to answer, what position do I think is the most important? That's not the question. Striker, I'm a striker, so I'm going to say that. But, there's many important. Every position is important. You need every position, even goalkeepers. So it's, how can I improve my dribbling at full pace? By Kroom 720. Okay, this is a big one. So I'm assuming you're saying running as fast as you can with the ball. And guys, with any of these practices here, it's all about consistency, and it's all about knowing what level you're at right now and where you want to go. So if you can't run full speed, all you're gonna do here's a drill you can do. This is very simple. Set 2 cones about like the 18-yard box width apart, and then just dribble from one cone as fast as you can while maintaining control of the ball, using the outside of your foot while you're running. You don't want to use the inside of your foot when you're dribbling. That's going to trip you up. You want to use the outside of your foot, and you're just going to do it as fast as you can while maintaining control. Then you're just going to try and go a little bit faster. Maintain control, keep dribbling. Then again, just keep upping it. You just got to keep going. You got to stack it. Keep going. Keep improving. Keep challenging yourself, and you will get better. And I can understand if you see a player who's doing it like effortlessly, that it gets frustrating, but recognize that player practiced to get to that point. All right, guys, so I think I'm going to end it right there. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really grateful for all of you who came out. I think this went pretty well. This is only our second one. We will be doing live streams every single Friday at 3 p.m. and then putting some other ones in there as well. And make sure you come back tomorrow because like I told, I think it was Christy, we will be doing a video on tryouts because I know the tryout season is coming up, or your seasons are starting to come, and I want to give you some advice on, how to make the most of your tryouts and, how to stand out a little more at them. All right, guys, so thank you so much. Again, I really, really am grateful that you came out for this live stream. Definitely come back tomorrow for the new video, and I'll talk to you later. And here's the awkward moment when I have to get up and turn the camera off. I'll see you guys all later. There it is.